So the U.S. and China are reopening trade negotiations. How could commodities be affected? We get some trading ideas for the week ahead from Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Scott, great to see you. Happy Monday. How are you playing oil this week?
I mean, I think you still have to be really cautious, Andrew. I think, you have to be on the sell side. So any rally, you have to fade it. And we've seen over the last weeks and months, what has caused the oil space to go up. And it was the geopolitical event, right? It was the attacks in Saudi. And ever since that, we've seen oil come back down about 15% and actually drop below 52 at the end of last week. We do see a little bit of a rally today here, but, I think even ahead of the meeting with China, I can't see that we're going to see much coming out of that. And I think you have to be on the bearish side.
We're hearing that the hedge funds are going pessimistic now on crude, and I can see their positioning is way down from...
Way down.
Yeah, I mean from, really the early summer of last year.
Yeah, actually it's the least amount of bullish bets or bullish positions, if you will, since February earlier this year. And it really looks to me like maybe I don't want to say the hedge fund community is capitulating, but it looks like they're finally, buying into the notion that, there's not going to be any sort of agreement, any sort of positive news coming out of U.S.-China talks. And really that is what has, really just curtailed the entire space here. We haven't seen any rallies in crude over the last 6 to 9 months, with the exception of, like I said earlier, the attacks in Saudi. And then when we get those one-off reports about some positive, news coming with some trade negotiations, which then always seem to get squashed.
How are you playing natural gas? Bloomberg says that there may be a prospect here of seeing nat gas go below $2 for the first time in years.
So here's one, Andrew. I'd actually play on the opposite side here, right? We're coming into the big heating season. However, prices are depressed because of the mild weather we're getting, right? There's really no sign in the next, 10 to 15 days or so throughout the country of sort of winter weather. So natty gas is holding around 230 or so, but at the first sign of any sort of cold snap or a storm coming in, I think that there could be a really big pop. Now, if we get a big pop up above around 250 or so, and that to me would be a big pop, that's about 10%, I think that's an area there that you maybe fade a little bit. But for right now, I'd be really cautious to the downside and look for some buying opportunities.
Yeah, it looks like natural gas tanked at the same time as oil there in early 2016. It got down to about $1.60 and then rallied.
Yeah.
We get crucial numbers from the Department of Agriculture this week, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, on the crops. How are you playing that one?
Again, I think with all of the weather, especially in the Midwest that we have had, all of the rain that we've had over the last weeks and months, and quite frankly, throughout spring and summer, I think you have to be really cautious here for any upside. And, you always see volatility in the option space for the ags higher on the upside, but there's a little extra added volatility there, and I think traders are looking for an unexpected pop to the upside.
And because, of course, the story for corn was they had the terrible flooding early last year. Can you give us an update? Has the crop been big?
I'm sorry, can you repeat? Has the crop been what?
Sorry. Is the supply picture for corn okay, according to the numbers we've had so far? Did they get a big crop in the U.S.?
I think it's just okay, like you just said. It is just okay. The prospects for an overabundance or an oversupply are probably not there. I don't think that's going to happen. However, if there is any sort of surprise, we know how these commodities react, that the surprises are usually to the upside.
Yeah, because apparently there are still concerns over the corn. Everything, soybeans in particular, everything seems to lead back to those trade talks, the U.S.-China negotiations.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's why you see some extra volatility right now going into these talks. But again, I mean, I don't mean to sound like the glass half empty, pundit here, because I am certainly not. However, until we start to see some change here, I think from a trading mentality, from a trading perspective, you have to look at it sort of on the bearish side.
Scott, it's always great talking to you. Thank you very much indeed.